Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to our second digital technology lesson. I've been having a look at a lot of the things you guys created in Scratch in our first lesson, and I have to say I'm very impressed. A lot of you have managed to do all the things that we set out to do, and a lot of you have even gone further and been adding your own creative things, changing sprites, and adding your own bits of code. So I'm very impressed with you guys and your ability to learn a lot of that stuff by yourselves. So today, in our next stage, some of you may have already done some of the things that we'll be covering in today's Scratch lesson. But regardless, give it a try, and it's always good to consolidate our knowledge, so help us remember how to do it all. So, boys and girls, today we're going to get back into Scratch and extend our program, make it a little bit more complex. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my desktop here. Okay, now probably the easiest way, boys and girls, is just to start out in Google. And you can literally just search for Scratch. Okay. Once Scratch is up, you can just click on the top one here. It'll take us straight into it. Okay. Now, if you are already signed in, great. If not, then actually just click sign in and use your username and password and press sign in. And there you are. You'll be into your Scratch account now. Okay. From there, what I want you to do is press the Create button at the top here. And this will make a brand new Scratch page for us. So once again, we have our cat on the right here, and we have no code because this is a brand new Scratch program. And we're going to name it straight away so we don't forget. We're going to call this one Lesson 2. Okay. Now today, when we do this, we're going to be using something a little bit different. Last time we used, in the events, we used this when flag was clicked. But we're not today. Today we're going to give our cat a lot more movement. Okay? So instead we're going to use this one that says when space key is pressed. So it's the one that's underneath the flag here. When space key is pressed. I'm going to put that down here. All right. And from there, we can actually click on this part that says when space key is pressed and change it to any key we want. This one here is, I'm going to say the right arrow. So it's actually the right arrow on my keyboard. So when I press the right arrow on my keyboard, then it will do whatever I tell it to underneath. Now I want the cat to go to the right when I press right. Now to do that, we're going to have to familiarize ourselves with a little bit of maths here, boys and girls. I'm going to click over onto this chart. This looks a bit weird and scary, but don't worry, it's not. There are two main lines in this chart. You can see this one that goes up and down here. This up and down one is called the y-axis. Okay? And this left and right arrow is called the x-axis. Okay? And the part right in the middle here is 0. Okay? Now what this means is for our characters to go to the right, we need to add more onto x. See, here's number 1, add more, number 2, number 3. So by plussing more to the x, we go to the right. And by taking away from the x, we go to the left. I'll show you what I mean. Let's go back to our Scratch. When the right arrow is pressed, I want to plus more to the x. So I'm going to go to this blue one motion. And I'm going to change x by 10. By 10 more. So every time I press the right arrow, it'll add 10 more to x and make it go to the right. Because remember, x is the left and right, and going more goes to the right, going less goes to the left. So let's see if it works. When the right arrow key is pressed, change X by 10. If it works, he'll go to the right. And yes, he does. Every time I press it, he goes to the right. Nice. But I want him to go backwards too. So I'm going to do another one. I'm going to go back to events when the space key is pressed. But this time I'm going to change it to when the left arrow. So I've got the right arrow going this way, and the left arrow I want to go back the other way. So I'll go back to motion and move 10 steps again. All right, let's have a look what happens. If I press the right arrow, it goes right. But when I press the left arrow, it also goes right. I've made a bug, a mistake. That's because I'm still, I've put move 10 steps. That's not right. I needed to get the change X. Okay, so I'll take that off. I need to do change X by 10, but that's still going to go to the right. I need to take away 10 to go to the left. So I'll click here next to the 10 and I'll put a little minus in front of it. Okay, so now it'll change X by take away 10 every time I press left. Let's give it a try. Look, pressing this one goes left, pressing that one goes right. And I can hold it down to go faster, left and right. Now I can make my cat go back and forwards by pressing the right and left arrow. Now I want my cat also to go up and down. Okay, up and down, like this maths chart we see, is actually called the Y. Plussing more Y will make him go up. And taking away from Y will make him go down. Okay? So let's give that a try. Once again, I'm going to bring out two events at the same time here. I'm going to put two of them when space key is pressed, but I don't want space key. I'm going to get it to go up arrow. When I press the up arrow, do this. And when I press the down arrow, do that. So I'll go over to the blue motion. And this time I don't want to change X, I want to change Y because Y is up and down. So I'll put change Y by 10 and change Y by 10. But to go down, I need to take away 10. So I'll change this to take away 10. Let's see if that works. I'll do when the up key is pressed, add 10 more to Y. Yes, adding more to Y. And when the down key is pressed, take away from Y. Yeah, I got it right. Good. Now you can actually even see this working down the bottom here. You can see this sprite is got, right now, the sprite is on the place of number 3 on the X axis. And when I add 10 more to make it go to the right, it'll actually see the number change. It'll add 10 more to that 3, 13, 23, 33, 43, 53. So you can actually see the X is going left to the right. And when I take away from the X, it gets back to the middle. And if I keep going, it goes into minus numbers. So down here, you can actually see the X and Y number of your sprite. A little bit of extra maths for you guys. There's actually a lot of maths in programming, but it's actually pretty fun. Okay, now the next thing we'd like to do is we'll add in a background just to make this a little bit more interesting. I'm going to get him to be roaming around on, here we go, in the desert here. There we go. I'll put him in the desert. You can put him anywhere you'd like. And I'm going to add some sound in as well. Now, I saw some of you have already added in sound, but let's put one in for other people. This time, we're going to put it when the space key is pressed, but I'm going to leave it at the space key. So when I press the space bar, it'll do this. Let's go over to sound, which is the pink one here. And we're going to play a sound. Okay. Until done, and I'm just going to play the meow. Okay, we could change that to record your own sounds. You can even, make them say things as long as they're appropriate. But when I press the spacebar now, my cat will meow, just like that. So I can move around, move back, move up, move down, and meow. Okay? Much more free to do what we'd like. Okay, so boys and girls, that's the main objective of our task for this week. If you can get a sprite, now you don't have to use a cat, you can change it to something else if you'd like. I want it to be able to move up and down on the y-axis and left and right on the x-axis, and then press spacebar or something to make a sound. Okay, and if you can do that, then that will be everything you need to do. Now, I'll add in a little bonus activity if you want to. A lot of these sprites have what they call costumes. I'll show you. I'll go down to this button down here to add a new sprite in. Now, I'll move over to animals, and here are all the different sprites. You can see if I hold it over cat, it's showing me 2 pictures. And that's actually because he has 2 costumes. He can change looks. If I hold it over the bear, it's actually got like more than 2, I think like 4 costumes there. And it changes between them. And they can be useful for making your character look a little bit better. So I'm not going to add in another one yet. Instead, I'm going to stick with my cat for now. And I'm going to put in looks, the purple one here, okay? I'm going to put in next costume, which means change to the next costume, okay? So when I press the right arrow, change to the next costume and move the 10. So you watch him. Now when I press right, he'll move to the right, but he'll also change to his next costume. Now it looks like he's actually walking. And if I press the left arrow, he's just going to slide because I haven't got the next costume in there. But I could add that into all of them if I wanted to. Now I can walk forward, walk backwards, walk up, and walk down. And each time I press walk, it switches to its next costume, which makes it look like it's taking a step. And that's pretty cool. Now, just be careful. If you choose a sprite, like, for example, this ballerina, next costume is going to make it look like it's dancing. So it won't look like they're walking. And that would be a bit weird. But if you pick something like the bear, that would look like it's walking nicely because it's a walking animation. But, even the case with like this guy here, he's just going to be standing and sitting, and it wouldn't really work for a walking one. Instead, you could make it change costume when you press spacebar to say something, and you'd be like, hello, something like that. Have a play around with that, boys and girls, if you want. That's a little bit of a fast finisher or bonus part of this lesson. When you finish the lesson, remember, I'd like you to press the share button so that I can see it as well. So I'll press share up here. I can also save it as well. It does save by itself, but if I've heard that on Chromebooks, some of you, it doesn't say saved up there, in which case it just saves automatically, so don't stress. But if you press the share here, it will then go up and I'll be able to see it. And remember, if you want to see all of your work that you've done, you can just go over here and click on this My Stuff folder. If you click on My Stuff, it'll have a list of all of the things that you have done. You can see I've actually got a few different ones I've demonstrated for students back in the day. But here's my lesson 2 that I just made, and you can see inside it to keep working on it. Okay? Or if you'd like to switch back to lesson 1 or make a different one of your own just to experiment with, that's easy. You can also press New Project or just press the Create button. Here's one I made last time I did Scratch with the students. It's this little one called Mech Defense. And you can press this button to make them a bit bigger if you want to. But how do I play it? When I start, I've got my little mech. I can walk around and I can shoot these things with my little gun here, and then I made a big laser that can shoot through lots of them at once. No. And if they get me 3 times, I lose health. And then I get game over if I hit 0 health. So we'll actually build up to making better and better little programs as we go. But anyways, boys and girls, have a play around with your Lesson 2 Scratch project. I'm looking forward to seeing them, and I hope you have a bit of fun making it. I will be online later on today. I'll be posting in the morning to find a time that's good for everyone, but it will probably be around about 10 to 11 in the morning or 11 to 12. Just check Google Classroom. I'll see what works best with the teachers and the schedule. Thanks a lot, boys and girls. I will talk to you all later. Have a great time.